Thank you for tuning in to LeadDeveloper.com, where we simplify complex property development feasibilities, investment analysis, and everything real estate. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, our Google Sheets-based feasibility suite streamlines the toughest aspects of real estate. Lead Developer Feasibility Suite is trusted by thousands in over 17 countries. Our tools cover everything from quick assessments to detailed cash flow projections and more. Sign up today at LeadDeveloper.com for unlimited free access to our expanding library of real estate tools. No credit card needed. Plus, get full support through Edge with step-by-step guidance, exclusive courses, and resources designed for your success. Turn numbers into narratives that win over investors and lenders. Join Lead Developer now.
Okay, so imagine this. You're thinking about investing in like one of those fancy condo buildings. The kind you see in magazines. It seems like a safe bet, right? I mean, everyone always says real estate goes up.
Yeah.
But does it? That's what we're trying to find out. You sent us a bunch of info on real estate guarantees, and I can tell you, you really want to be prepared.
It's smart.
It is. So today we're going to do a deep dive into real estate guarantees. We'll look at the different kinds, why lenders love them, and what they mean for you as an investor. Basically, we're going to be like your guarantee decoder rings.
I like that. Yeah. So let's just start at the beginning. What is a real estate guarantee? It's kind of like a safety net for the lender, a way for them to get their money back if the project fails.
So the lender is saying, hey, I trust you, but just in case, I need some assurance.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting. Our sources show that after the last recession, lenders got way more strict about requiring these guarantees.
Makes sense. No one wants to go through that again. So if I understand this right, the borrower is putting up some of their own assets.
Yep. It shows they're committed to the project. But of course, there are tons of different types of guarantees, and each one has different risks.
Okay, so let's talk about those types. I know from your research that there isn't just one kind.
Right. There are all sorts, from the simple to the really complicated ones. Let's start with a common one, the guarantee of repayment, sometimes called a takeout guarantee.
Guarantee of repayment. Uh-oh, that sounds serious.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. The borrower promises to repay no matter what happens, even if the whole thing is a disaster.
Whoa, that's a lot of pressure for the borrower. Is there something less scary?
There is. There's a guarantee of completion. With this one, it's about finishing the project the right way. Like, if something goes wrong, the lender can step in and finish it.
So it's less about the money and more about getting it done. But I bet that can still be a pain.
Oh, yeah. When a lender has to step in to finish something, it almost always costs more. Imagine like a condo development. The developer messes up, the lender steps in, they don't have the experience, so it costs them millions more.
Wow, that's a perfect example of why this guarantee is so important. Okay, so we've got the guarantee of repayment and guarantee of completion. What else?
Well, there's the soft cost guarantee. This one covers costs that aren't construction but still matter, like taxes, insurance, even the interest on the loan.
Oh yeah, those hidden costs that no one thinks about. I bet lenders want to limit those.
Of course. Developers don't want to be responsible for unlimited costs either. Now, this next one is important since you mentioned condos, the minimum sales price guarantee.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Basically, the borrower promises that each condo will sell for a certain price. This way, the lender knows they'll get enough back to cover the loan. But in a good market, like we see in a lot of cities now, developers might not like this guarantee. They think they can get way more than the minimum. But lenders want to be safe, just in case the market changes.
So it's like they're both trying to get the best deal they can.
Exactly. And you can see how all this depends on what the market is doing.
This is really interesting. But it seems like these guarantees are all about protecting the lender.
That's a good point. It seems that way, but it's not as simple as that. There are some good things for the borrower, too.
Really? I'm curious now.
Well, think about it. For the lender, this makes sure the borrower does a good job. It helps avoid lawsuits and all that, and it gives the lender a clear way to get their money back if things go bad, which actually makes them want to give the loan in the first place.
I see. So what's the upside for the borrower, then?
A guarantee can actually give the borrower more power when talking about the loan. If they give a good guarantee, the lender might be nicer about things like interest rates or how long they have to pay it back. It's kind of a trade.
So more risk for the borrower, but a better deal overall. I like it. Anything else?
Yeah, sometimes a guarantee can make things easier if the project fails. It might help avoid something called foreclosure, which can really hurt someone financially and their reputation.
Like damage control, but planned out.
Exactly. So you can see that guarantees aren't just about lenders being mean or borrowers taking risks. It's about both working together to make the project succeed.
It's about making sure everyone wins.
Exactly. If it's done right, a guarantee can actually make the lender and the borrower trust each other more.
So it's not about one side winning. It's about everyone working together.
Exactly. And everyone wants the project to be successful.
Right. Okay, so we talked about the basic guarantees, but your research also mentioned something called variations. What are those?
Yeah, the variations. Real estate, it's not always simple. There's always some wiggle room when you're making these guarantees.
So it's not like ordering from a menu.
Nope. It's more like you get to design your own guarantee. You can change things depending on the deal. It's all about finding something everyone's happy with, finding the right balance of risk and reward.
I can see how this can get tricky. Can you give me some examples? Like, what are some things they change?
Sure. One you see a lot is the limited guarantee. Sometimes it's called an incomplete guarantee. Basically, it doesn't cover everything. Maybe it only covers part of the costs or just some specific expenses.
So like a safety net with some holes in it.
Yeah. And what it covers and what it doesn't, that's all negotiated between the borrower and lender.
I bet borrowers like those limited guarantees more. Less risk for them, right?
Right. It lets them limit their risk, but still gives the lender some comfort. Now, there's another one that's important if you're working with other investors, the joint and several guarantee.
Oh, that sounds scary. What's that all about?
This one's for when there are multiple borrowers. Under this guarantee, every single borrower is responsible for the entire debt, not just their share.
Wait, so if one person can't pay, anyone else can be forced to pay the whole thing?
Yep, that's the point. It's really risky for the borrowers because they're basically guaranteeing each other.
Yeah, I can see why lenders love this. But borrowers, not so much.
For sure. You really have to think about it before agreeing to that one. It could be a big problem.
It's like we said before, you got to be smart about guarantees. You can't just sign something without understanding it. It could be a huge mistake.
Absolutely. The more you know about guarantees, the better you can negotiate and protect yourself.
Right. This is all making me see guarantees differently. It's not just about the lender being tough or the borrower taking on risk. It's about finding that middle ground where both sides win.
I agree. A good guarantee can actually make the lender and the borrower work better together.
Right. It's about setting everyone up for success. Speaking of success, though, the stuff you sent mentioned something about borrowers having legal defenses for these guarantees.
Oh, right. That's important. Even though these guarantees are legal and all, they're not always unbeatable. Borrowers can fight back if they think the guarantee is being used unfairly.
So the lender doesn't always automatically win.
Nope. There are times when a borrower can win in court if they challenge a guarantee.
Okay, I'm listening. What are some of these defenses? What can a borrower argue?
One thing they often argue is that the lender messed things up and made it impossible for the borrower to do what the guarantee said.
So if the lender did something to make the project fail, the borrower isn't responsible. What if the lender didn't give them the money they needed or put in some crazy rules that stopped the project?
Exactly. If the lender caused the problems, the borrower has a good argument.
That makes sense. Anything else?
Another thing they can argue is that the lender didn't try hard enough to reduce their losses before going after the guarantee.
So if the lender could have done something to save money but didn't, the borrower has a point. Like, imagine the lender could have sold the property to someone else or changed the loan to make it easier but didn't even try. Would that work in court?
It could. The borrower can say the lender didn't do enough to minimize their losses.
This is wild. It's like a whole legal game going on behind the scenes of these deals.
It can be. That's why you need good lawyers involved.
For sure. Not something you want to figure out yourself.
Right. A good lawyer can really make a difference when it comes to guarantees.
I'm learning a lot here. It's not just about lenders and borrowers. It's about lawyers and negotiations and finding ways to make things work.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, well, one more thing. The research you sent mentioned that lenders don't always win these cases, even though they have the guarantee in writing.
It's true. We talked about how borrowers can fight back, and sometimes the courts agree with them. Things aren't always clear-cut.
Right. A signed contract isn't a guaranteed win for the lender.
It shows you that the law around real estate is always changing. Nothing is certain. That's why it's so important to do your research, understand the guarantees you're signing, and get advice from experts.
You got that right. Knowing what you're doing is super important when investing in real estate, especially with guarantees.
Absolutely. We've been talking about individual deals, but what about the bigger picture? How do these guarantees affect the entire real estate market?
That's a good question. We've been looking at the little details. Now it's time to zoom out and see how everything fits together.
Right. We've talked about lenders and borrowers, but how do guarantees shape the whole market?
Okay, let's think big picture for a minute. How do guarantees affect everything?
Well, think of it this way. Guarantees make lending less risky for lenders. This can actually lead to more loans being given out.
So it's like a domino effect. Guarantees make lenders feel safe, more loans happen, and then we have more real estate development.
Exactly. And more lending can help the entire economy. More jobs, more construction, more growth overall.
Wow, so these guarantees aren't just about individual deals, they're affecting the whole economy.
They are. It's like they tell us how healthy the real estate market is, the types of guarantees being used, and whether lenders want to give them. It all tells a story.
So if things are good and real estate is doing great, lenders are more willing to take risks and maybe not require such strict guarantees. They feel confident about making money.
Right. In a good market, lenders feel good about getting their money back, even without those super strong guarantees. They're more willing to be flexible.
But if the economy isn't doing well and the real estate market is shaky, lenders get more careful. They want stricter guarantees and take fewer risks.
Exactly. Lenders change how much risk they're willing to take depending on how they feel about the market.
This is making so much sense now. Guarantees really show us what people are thinking about the real estate market. They can tell us if things are going up or down.
That's a great way to think about it. It's not just about the individual deal, it's a part of the whole economic picture.
Well, I think this is a good place to stop for now. We talked about the details of guarantees and how they affect the whole market.
It's been a great conversation.
It's where having good lawyers and financial advisors really helps.
Right. They can help you understand everything and find solutions that work for you.
Totally. We've covered so much today. I hope our listener is feeling like a real estate guarantee pro now. We talked about all the different types, the little details, the legal stuff, and even how guarantees affect the whole market.
We really went deep.
We did. Now, you're ready to start asking the right questions, making smart decisions, and feeling confident about investing in real estate, especially when it comes to guarantees.
Ready to make some deals.
Yes. But before we finish, I want to leave you with something to think about. We talked about how guarantees are good for both lenders and borrowers, how they help them work together, reduce risk, and even change the market. But I think there's something even more important about guarantees.
Okay, I'm interested.
It seems to me that guarantees are all about trust. They're about creating trust between two people who are doing something complicated and maybe risky.
That's a really good point. I never thought about it that way, but you're right. It's about showing you trust each other and that you both want the project to succeed.
Exactly. And it's not just about the contract or the money. It's deeper than that. It's about believing in the project, believing in each other, and knowing you can work together even when things get tough.
It's like taking a chance, but with a safety net made of trust.
I like that. A chance with a safety net. It's a perfect way to describe real estate guarantees.
It reminds us that even though it's important to be smart and have a plan, trust is what makes things work in real estate.
I agree. Well, I think that's a great way to end our deep dive into real estate guarantees. I hope you enjoyed it and that you feel ready to tackle this exciting world.
Keep learning, keep asking questions, and get good advice.
Well said. Until next time, keep exploring and keep those questions coming.